Go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon podcast. Athletes aren't just on the field, they're brands, investors, and philanthropists. But until now, getting real data on their ventures, reps, or endorsements was like piecing together a rumor mill. Enter AthleteAgent.com, formerly OSDB, co-founded by Rodgers and Rottman. They've just rebranded and launched a subscription model that could change how brands, agencies, and fans across access athlete data, from endorsements to front office contacts. AthleteAgent.com is positioning itself as the IMDb of sports. Welcome to the pod.
I appreciate you having me. It's good to be here.
So, an American based in the UK, but with strong ties to the continental US. First of all, how did you meet Aaron, and how did that sort of, did you talk him into starting this, or how did that come about?
It's a good question. We became friends probably.
Did you do ayahuasca together?
We've done a lot together. We initially met on the golf course.
Yeah,
we were playing in a golf tournament. We're both big golfers.
Yeah.
And we actually really bonded over the movie The Big Lebowski and the dude. It's one of our favorite movies. And then just became boys. Just we're
Awesome.
been really good friends, and because of that and love for movies and being friends, I've been an actor for 20 something years.
Okay.
And because of that, an IMDb element, which is the entertainment movie database.
Yes.
That was my business card. That was my calling card for everything acting. It shows all my filmography. And every time I walked in an audition room, my IMDb page is pulled up. And I actually did a show called 90210, and a producer from the Hallmark Channel saw me, looked at my IMDb Pro, saw who my agent was, reached out, and then put me into the Hallmark family. And I've done 8 Hallmark films since then. And so, had that information not been correct, I would have not had that income, not have had those jobs. And so, being on that inner world of the sports element and culture with Aaron, I was so curious why something like IMDb Pro didn't exist in the sports world, because it's so fragmented, and you have the bigger guys have agents and females have agents, and a lot of their friends are their managers, and it just there's no validity to it. So we wanted to kind of reconstruct that. We were at I'll never forget it. We were at a restaurant called Casa Vega in California, in Studio City, and I said, hey, I had this idea, there should be an IMDb for athletes, something that tells you about everything that the athlete's doing on and off the field, as well as how to get a hold of them. And he said, "Who've you told?" I said, "A couple buddies." He said, "Don't tell anyone else. This is right up our alley. There's a white space for this, and we're the guys to do it." So after that, I was like, "Oh, okay. I've got to go make a website and a database." And so that's what I've been doing since.
But what did that company exist yet, or did you buy an existing company, or where does the rebrand come in?
So we originally started as OSDB, and even you having the trouble saying it initially was
Yes.
just the customer getting the acronym together.
It doesn't roll off the tongue, really, right?
It doesn't, and initially it doesn't, and I says ODB, like Old Dirty Bastard, the rapper from the '90s. It was kind of to play off the IMDb element.
Yeah.
So you had that kind of connection to it, to understand what we were. But as we built OSDB originally, it was a one-stop shop for all things sports, and I believe we just bit off more than we could chew, as well as not understanding the group that we were targeting. And because of that, we had stats, we had editorial, and those were 2 very costly elements to the site that
almost too much, right?
It was too much. People say when you do a startup, you need to have blinders on and focus on one element, right? Instead of going too large. And I think we went too large. And the rebrand came from listening to the customer. We were getting a ton of traffic because our SEO was so massive and we had so much data, different data points on athletes, that we were getting hundreds of thousands of people to the site a month, but we weren't figuring out the right way to drive revenue off those customers.
How to monetize,
that base. Yeah, how to monetize off that. So we were getting a lot of emails about how do I connect with this athlete? Who reps this athlete? And we had some of that information, but we really started finding out that was the brunt of why people were coming to us, and no one was coming to us for stats. There's too many big names. There's too many big names like ESPN in the game, and you grow up on a certain stat platform, like you're just not going to leave it. Apple tried to do it, and they still lost ESPN.
Exactly.
And it was costing us a fortune, right? Those behemoths, they just can charge whatever they want. As well as writers in the editorial staff. So we really just narrowed that focus, came up with a name that really gave the user the idea of what we are, what we do, and then went full fledged. As a founder and as a working with a business that you're so close to for so long, it's really hard to take that leap to say, to scrap it and kind of stop and rebuild and say, like, we need to be more laser focused on this because you do like the other elements. It's your baby. Yeah. So it's a tough thing.
But also you learned a valuable lesson that you can't actually treat a business like your baby because it will die.
It's no better word than ever been spoken.
Yeah. Tell me, the subscription model, how did you sort of decide, okay, cool, this is what we're going to do instead of like a once-off fee or doing a per click or per request? And what made you so sure it was the correct direct-to-consumer play?
Well, we looked at competition in the market, right, as far as the IMDb entertainment. There are some other businesses that showcase contact information, but it's very limited.
Okay.
I'd say it's more towards the 1% of athletes as opposed to the 100% that we focus on.
Okay.
We have every athlete for every team and every contact information. And so that price point, we really, because of what's out there, we made it pretty aggressive to get people in the door and to sign up and be able to start utilizing it. And because of that, I also wanted, we have very large businesses that have subscribed, and we also have startups, and I wanted everyone to be able to afford it. Coming from, had I not known Aaron and I wanted to get an athlete to be a co-founder with me, like I couldn't go out and spend $10,000 a year for a connection agency or another site, and some of these other businesses are charging $10,000 a year for contact information, and it's not validated like ours is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell me, this is maybe an unfair question, but it's something that I have in the back of my mind. Is the information out there somewhere online? Isn't this something that AI could piece together, or what makes your service different?
Well, I think if you look for anything hard enough, you could probably figure it out. But you can definitely figure out who represents an athlete.
Okay.
Right. You could figure out that, Clutch Sports represents LeBron. And again, the bigger the top 1% of athletes is easier to find than the other 99%.
Okay.
So you can figure out who represents them, but you can't figure out the contact information. What's that agent or manager's phone number? What's their email? That is pretty hard. I'd say pretty guarded.
Yes.
And because of our relationships with and investors from different agencies, heads of, we have Scott Boras, who's the biggest baseball agent or the biggest agent of all time as an investor, and a bunch of other C-suite execs from different agencies. They have provided us with the information that has previously been unattainable. Scott Boras Corp is notorious for not giving out information, but we have it, and we can tell you who at that agency represents them, what their contact information is, and the testimonials we've gotten are just they're insane.
Because you're basically selling access, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's cool.
The access, and because of the connections we have, that's how we're able to get that information that you can't find. And I even just a trial and error of using AI asked, can you get me the contact information for X, Y, and Z? And it said this would be a wealth of knowledge. This is a gold mine. But no, I cannot. It's not available.
Tell me, How many athletes are on the site or on the platform currently?
We have around 5,200
Jeez.
professional athletes, current professional athletes, and on our back end we have around 54,000. So because it's right now we have just current athletes, current professional athletes, but on the back end we have retired
Yes.
all the way back. So it's just as you know, as a startup and small man teams,
Yes.
it's too much work to update that amount of athletes at the time being. So we decided to go live with just current athletes, and really nail that and because we're so passionate about
Yeah.
having the correct information, right? Because if you come and you purchase a sub and you reach out to someone and then you get a bounce
That's
back saying this
wrong.
email
Yeah.
doesn't exist, then why are
It's
you paying
bad
us?
luck. It's a
So
bad luck.
every email on our website is gone through two different APIs to make sure it doesn't bounce back. It is deliverable, and this is to the
I
right
was
person.
about to ask you, how do you curate and sort of update that kind of information at scale? Is it just APIs and is there something else?
For the email addresses, phone numbers, we, you know, manual labor, we source, we call the
Wow.
agencies, we do as much deep dive as we can.
Okay.
Then we go through like three different layers of checking, but it's a lot. It's a lot of manual labor, and that's what really creates the moat around this for us.
So what you talked about feedback. What sort of feedback have you gotten? Are people be able to do things that they weren't able to do before? Like, is it quicker? Is it maybe more bigger deals? What exactly is the feedback?
Yeah, so I think for us the feedback has been it's a time saver,
Okay.
right? Like you said, if you want to find something you can, but how much is your time valued to you to go
Yeah.
out and find all that when you could just do a couple clicks and get not only one athlete but as many athletes as you want. So we had someone that's high up at LinkedIn that controls that works with a bunch of athletes at LinkedIn has subscribed, and he
Wow.
sent three emails and got three responses within 4 hours.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, so every person responded. They were all he was reaching out to NBA stars,
Wow.
emailed and said this is already literally paid for itself in the first few hours. I just so you know, I reached out to three NBA athletes agents and got responses back. And this is fantastic. We have, it's funny. You also kind of create your product and you think you have a certain customer, and then once you
Yeah.
go live, you realize it's a lot broader than you thought it was, and that's what's been really interesting. We have, we've had attorneys, we have a ton of financial advisors that are looking to work with athletes. One of our other testimonials is that we had two minor league baseball teams subscribe. They contacted two MLB athletes that had been dropped from the majors. They didn't know who represented them.
Okay.
They reached out, and now those guys are back in the minor leagues, working their way back up.
That's cool. That's
Yeah, so it's
cool.
not only it's the reason we built this, and it's something that was super passionate for Aaron is it's not only just to be a connector, but it's also to help the athletes. Not everyone's making $50 million a year,
No, no,
but
of course.
they could be doing local car dealership ads or going to
Radio
a club and
reads
getting
or
that or
whatever.
doing
Yeah.
radio or and even on the journalistic side, like a lot of like CNBC is subscribed, like they're utilizing that to reach out to figure out how it's just quicker. How can I get a hold of this athlete? And then the athlete now has become more available, and because they're reachable, and now they may have this new interview that's talking about their new startup or anything that they're involved in, and it can get the word out. So it's really helping. Aaron really wanted to help athletes with this.
And tell me, NRL, anything in colleges, or is that too broad at the moment
It's definitely on
on the
on the,
radar?
the roadmap. Yeah,
Because
it's
NRL to me, sorry to interrupt,
no,
it's Wild West. Hey? It's
it is.
crazy.
It's it's crazy. I think something roughly like 500,000 collegiate athletes. It's a heavy, again, like I said to our small team, it's a heavy lift.
Yeah.
And right now, it doesn't make as much sense because there's only a fraction of athletes that are actually making money, have business ventures, endorsement deals, are really heavily involved in philanthropy. And so if we add all these athletes, let's say we start with college football, we add all these athletes, we don't really have those differentiators
Yes.
for them that we have for everyone else. And so we're kind of just like another site, and not enough of them have contact information, which is why they're coming to us. So we will get there. We will
But
get
they
there.
also go like they into the transfer portal, and then one moment they're here, and then they're there, and there's sort of not a stickiness, I guess.
Yeah, it's not. There's no stickiness, and it's hard for us to keep that amount of information
I
updated
imagine.
at scale right now. But we're really focused, and what I'm really excited about is more underserved sports. Like we have the top five
Like what?
majors in the U.S. Like we're adding UFC. Those guys are.
Yeah.
It's underserved as a massive sport, but the athletes, um, they rely so heavily on endorsement deals.
Yes.
They get paid a fraction in the ring, and
Absolutely.
everything is outside of that. Surfing, paddles becoming new, and a big sport. We're looking to dive into cricket. No one's really tapped that market as far as how to, on the global scale of all. There's so many leagues: rugby, lacrosse,
Wrestling, collegiate wrestling.
wrestling.
I just saw the Real American Freestyle League, and I mean those guys are building brands, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And that's predominantly something that was a very niche thing, and now it's getting like international attention almost. So I like
Exactly.
your focus on more sort of other things that are have previously been neglected, I guess.
Yeah, and if you look at it always kind of stuck with me with Red Bull, right?
Yeah.
Like Red Bull could have gone out and tackled every major sport, the tops in the world. And what they did is they went to the X Games, right?
Yes.
They tackled sports that they could have had easier access into, and that the loyalty was there, right? Like those athletes are going to do anything and everything for Red Bull. I have friends that are sponsored by Red Bull, and they're fantastic to them,
Yeah.
and it's that kind of mindset that I really want to focus on. Yes, we need the majors because every athlete deserves to be on this and have some sort of window into who represents them. But I really want to focus on athletes that really need the income, that need that new revenue source, and in any way we can help them.
Hard question. How do you build that trust with all stakeholders? Because a system like this could be, I mean, any system could be abused, but it how can I put this? It's how do you make sure that I'm not giving a number to someone that might not be using it in good faith, if that makes sense?
A very good question. And it's something I've thought of a lot about when we first started this. And I actually called my acting agents, and some of my friends' agents that are massive A-list movie stars,
Yeah.
and said how, because their information is on IMDb Pro, right? Like
Yeah,
either
yeah,
one
yeah.
of us could subscribe and get Tom Cruise's contact information, right? Who his agent
Yeah.
is. I said, how do you get a lot of spam? And they said, you get some, not as much as you would think. You get, the people aren't paying to call to say, "Hey, will Tom talk to me?" And we get the odd email to us saying like, "Hey, my son's birthday is coming up. Can you get Juju Smith Schuster to sign an autograph?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why if you subscribe, there's people to talk to." But we get a lot of that. But I was surprised at how minimal they said that actually was.
It's a really interesting.
And also, what it does is if something like that happens, they can reach out to us and say, "Hey, listen, I'm getting an onslaught of like emails, and it's coming from they're getting the information from you all.
Yes.
Can you put my assistant's email on there?"
Yes,
Now we've
yes,
got that
yes.
rapport with the agent. Now we're trying to help them. We're going to do whatever they want to make it easier for them. And so their agent gets inundated as opposed to them, but then it creates that relationship.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Ryan,
we actually
last,
we had an
yeah.
agent reach out and was like, "Hey, would you mind taking my cell phone uh, off your website and put my office number?" And I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Listen, you put your phone number that was on LinkedIn that you sent out.
Yeah.
So we want it, and 100% we'll change it whatever is best for you."
Okay. Yeah. Because you need to keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
Last question before I let you go. What was the biggest lesson that you can share for other founders in sort of the tech, media, sports space? Something that you, looking back, can say, "Oh, I wish I knew that, and I would have maybe done that different."
I think my two takeaways would have been: A, what we kind of spoke on earlier, which is
Yeah.
keep blinders on and stay really narrowly focused on your niche of what drives your business, and don't get too hungry.
Okay.
Slow and steady.
One city.
And then second, I would say, especially in sports tech, bring tech in house.
Okay.
That was I outsourced, and listen, they built a great product initially, and it was great, but it wasn't how fast can you make this. It was how much is this going to cost, and there's a price tag on everything, and you couldn't move at the speed you wanted, and even for little fixes, it's so costly when it's your own person.
Yeah.
That's internal. You're going to say, like, get this done, and it's a weight off my shoulders, as well as it's easier to raise when you have an internal tech team as opposed to outsourcing.
Those are very, very important points for everyone, and very good information. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me today. If the listeners want to go and connect with you and find out more about AthleteAgent.com and where they can get involved, where can they do that?
Well, kind of like you just said, AthleteAgent.com. We have my socials at Ryan Rottman across all the board. Just shoot us an email.
And we'll put all the links in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. And to our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.
Tell yourself it's just a slice. Reality's deeper now, roll your dice. Step outside, take a breath, face the world past your depth. What you hope and dream is more than the echoes that are seen. We get lost inside the dream, held beneath what's yet unseen. But the world is wide beyond the mind. Step outside, leave doubt behind. Till lost inside the dream, held beneath what's yet unseen. But the world is wide beyond the mind. Step outside, leave doubt behind. What's it like being a lost soul inside the mind, with stories on to tell but to yourself other than lies? Life is more than walls you can't perceive. You aren't alone, there are still people that won't leave. Time to wake up,